Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back down onto the mat. We are here in a very festive Madison Square Garage. I'm not going to do it again this one. Yes, Merry Christmas. We are filming this a couple days before Christmas, but it will be out on Christmas Day most likely. So
this can be our little present to you.
Our present to you. We are here in Madison Square Garage to do the 2024 Best of Year in Review episode.
Yeah.
A lot of these going around at the moment, so we're going to do our own little one. A couple different categories. Outside of the norm, hopefully. So
it's pretty mainstream. It's fine. Yeah. If this is our present to you, as our wonderful listening family and everybody at home, thank you very much for watching. Your present to us can be liking and subscribing this video because we've checked the statistics on YouTube and about 76% of people that watch in the video aren't subscribed. So flick us a like.
Give us a like,
flick us a subscribe. And then
comment down below.
At the end of the video, give us your best of for the year. And if you want to come have a chat to us on our Discord, we've got a Discord that will be linked below as well. Come over there and discuss them because we've already had a bit of a chat on there around what we think our best matches of the year are. And that'll be the first category that we can kick this one off with.
Match of the year, kicking it off in style. All right, I'm going to kick
Speaking of style,
one.
I mean, first of all, that shirt, my jumper.
Collar and button shirt.
We've gone all
You've
out.
You've never
for
seen
you,
this on the podcast before for me.
It's also the middle of summer in a garage in Canberra. It's a bit warm.
You can't see the guns, but they're out.
I'm in a Christmas sweater for you. So, dedication.
Love it. Love it. All right, kicking it off. Best match for Rowdy Roddy Reece of the year.
Now, are we going to do this where we sort of maybe like give a short list and then our picks, or how do you want to do it?
I didn't really have a short list for a lot of things. I just kind of went this, and I did my research to make sure I wanted to cement that as my pick.
Okay, all right. So we'll just talk.
But I'll throw some shit in here and there.
All
so
right.
my pick, straight up, one who might be on a lot of lists, Will Ospreay. Of course, it's going to be one of his matches.
Surprise. 5-star machine.
Whoa, what a surprise. I'm going with, I think, often underlooked this year, Ospreay versus Pac at AEW All Out. Okay. And my reasoning behind that was, when that match got announced, it's got a very sentimental place in my list this year because when that match got announced, I was like, holy shit, this is going to be amazing. And the match then proceeded to blow my expectations out of the water. Just the amount of fluidity with their sequences, the spots that they did throughout the match, a few like really stick in my mind. There was a corner spot. Ospreay's got Pac up for the cheeky Nando's. Pac blocks it. Goes to do a Hurricane Rana. Ospreay catches him, goes to flip him around. Pac turns that into a tornado DDT. And then the spot that made me go, oh my God, holy shit. Ospreay's going to give Pac a powerbomb, and then he just reverses it into a Hurricane Rana. I had never seen anything like that before in my life.
Yeah, it's hard to go past
any
a
Ospreay
number
match,
of Ospreay matches.
Yeah,
I mean, we'll talk about there's different categories and stuff coming up, and I'm sure we'll talk about
I was going to
more.
go with the Kyle Fletcher one from a couple of Ospreay's first official AEW matches.
Yeah.
But I feel like this one. Yeah, Takeshita, Fletcher.
The Danielson one at Dynasty. There was even like
there's an endless supply of great matches from Ospreay.
I know you haven't watched it yet, mainly because you don't like Darby Allin. But the Continental Classic match between Ospreay and Darby from Dynamite this week.
Yeah.
Mate, there is a sequence in that where Ospreay jumps off the turnbuckle and Darby moves, so he rolls through. Then Darby jumps on his back for the code red. Ospreay kind of catches his feet and then flings him forward. He lands, hidden blade. He picks him up, Stormbreaker, spins him around for Stormbreaker, and then Darby lands on his back, then hits the code red for 2. It's like the way that Ospreay just books his matches and the way that he sets these sequences in them, he's untouchable. It's phenomenal how good those matches are. So yeah, look, I don't think his match with Pac is my favorite, but I can't discredit your pick at all.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Good. I do have a short list of matches for this.
Okay.
This is one of the categories that I put some research into because there's a few that I haven't, and I'm going to wing it when we get later on in the video.
Gotta love it.
But I had the Ospreay Danielson match at Dynasty on my list. That was 6.5 stars, I believe, that Uncle Dave gave that. One of the best matches of the year. Yeah. Absolute cracker, right? And the story of having, the fact that he'd never wrestled him and he just wanted to tick it off his bucket list, and the two greatest wrestlers, who's the best wrestler alive. Mate, it's just so good how those two were. The one that I want to give a shout out to that I haven't seen on a lot of lists, because a lot of lists have been, my match that I'm going to choose, the Ospreay Danielson match, the Punk versus Drew Hell in a Cell, which is again a phenomenal match. Cody versus Roman at WrestleMania 40, they are all fantastic matches. I can't discredit any of those choices. One that slipped through the cracks that I want to give it its flowers is the triple threat match at NXT Stand and Deliver.
Yes, that's right.
Between Josh Briggs, Dijak, and Obafemi. 3 big meaty men slapping man meat, but doing backflips and Spanish flies and things that they should not be doing. I remember you were here because that was the WrestleMania week.
Yeah, I got up because WrestleMania started at, I think, 10 a.m. Australian time or 11 or something. Right. Stand and Deliver started at like 4 in the morning for us. So I don't think I watched it live, but I got up at like 6 o'clock and I started watching it, and I eventually woke you up because I was just like, holy shit, what the fuck was that? Oh my God.
I'm not a morning person, and I was like, oh, I better go see what's going on.
And then like after I'd finished the pay-per-view, we went back and I showed him the match, and I was just like, if there's one thing you watch from this pay-per-view, it's that.
Yeah,
and he was not disappointed.
It was a phenomenally good match. Like I said, it's 3 guys that are very good in ring that shouldn't be able to do the things that they were doing. Yeah, and I think there was a tower spot on the turnbuckle with the 3 of them, where I'm pretty sure Oba powerbombed someone, and like they normally do the 3-man spot, but like instead of the normal suplex, it was a full moonsault, and they're just big guys moving around like they shouldn't be. Yeah. Just such a fun match.
You just can't fault them.
The match that I have picked though, as my match of the year, is Swerve Strickland versus Bryan Danielson.
Okay.
At All in London.
Okay. Great pick.
A, fantastic, phenomenal match between the two of them. But B, the fact that it was at All in London, the fact that it was obviously for the AEW World Title, and it was for Danielson's career, and the extra stakes that were put on that match because of that being Danielson's career, and the way that that he sold it. Like, Swerve was going to win, and you believed it. And we believed Danielson was done. And it was so poetic, and it was so well put through that whole match that you never really believed, right? Yeah. Because you're like, there's no way Danielson's finished. Yeah. So he's going to win this match. But then the amount of times they made you think, no, Swerve's actually going to do it.
Like the part that really sticks out when we talk about Swerve, like being like, holy shit, he's going to win it, was when Danielson hit the Psycho knee. And then Swerve just rolled out of it, stood up, and just brushed it off. The amount of, as the kids say, aura in that, off the charts, mate.
It was such a great match, such a great story. Danielson celebrating at the end, the confetti coming down, his family there, all fantastic, all to be ruined in a month's time because Moxley put a plastic bag over his head and ruined it. But we're not going to get to that part. We're not talking about worst matches, because if we were, we'd talk about Jimmy and Jay at WrestleMania. But we're not going to. Shots fired.
I mean, look, I hadn't even thought of that, but that probably would be.
It's a consensus. A lot of people's worst match of the year, mainly because
we watched MLW this year, so that's very high on the cards. Sorry, but MLW is not good.
Okay, so we've done our match of the year.
Yes. What's next?
The next category we're going to talk about, and I'm hoping Editor Luke is watching this and putting in some nice big fancy banners across the top. Match of the year, with like a star going across it. Yeah, videos and everything.
Santa's sleigh because it's Christmas.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, can you do that?
Anyway.
PLE of the year. Pay-per-view of the year, or card of the year, whatever we want to call it. Do you want to go first?
Yeah. Look, I think when I say what my pay-per-view is, everyone will agree that it's phenomenal. I got to go with Backlash, man. I got to go with Backlash.
Okay.
Because not only was the crowd on fire for the SmackDown prior and for the pay-per-view itself, when I went and looked back at the card, it was actually a really stacked card, and we had a lot of great moments on that. I'll just bring up the card, and we can quickly go through it. So we had the show kicked off with Bloodline versus KO and Randy.
Yep.
Which was great. That was a street fight as well. Fantastic match. Bayley, in her first title defense, defeats Naomi and Tiffany Stratton in a triple threat.
I remember that, yep.
Great match. One that I thought kind of went under the radar a little bit. We didn't think too much about it at the time, but it ended up being a really good match that exceeded our expectations, was the Damian Priest Jey Uso one for the World Championship. Great match.
The crowd were all into Jey.
we had the crowning moment of Jade and Bianca as the women's tag team champions, beating Damage Control.
Damage Control.
And then the main event.
Mate.
Cody AJ. 5-star classic.
That camera shot of... Was it Jess that had the title up, or was it the male? I can't remember which referee held the title. But like the two of them just standing there and the camera shaking.
That was Jess. That was Jess,
right? That is just such a phenomenal like video shot.
Yeah.
And it's just brilliant. That whole crowd lifts that pay-per-view from whatever you think it is to brilliant.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, you might think that the matches were maybe kind of average, but having crowd atmosphere like that really just elevates everything.
Yeah, for sure. And I think WWE hit a really solid run of Europe shows and overseas shows. Like, I mean, we might say it'd be biased, but Elimination Chamber was probably...
Honourable mention.
Honourable mention for us because
we were there.
We were there and it was great. But like the fact that WWE taking their B-tier shows internationally and giving those smaller crowds like Berlin, Australia, France, Canada, these kind of things, like it's worked. It's really worked, and it makes those shows so much better than
I've heard a rumor that they're going to be targeting a lot more next year for overseas, like maybe potentially 8 out of the 4 pay-per-views next year to be
8
overseas.
Out of the 4.
If they do 12.
Oh, okay. 8 of the 12, not 8 of the 4. It's all right.
Yeah,
don't worry about the maths.
Bad maths.
We got you. I think the thing, before I give you my pick for the pay-per-view of the year, we want to quantify this as well. WrestleMania is obviously the best pay-per-view of the year.
Yeah.
It always is.
We didn't want to, because a lot of people are picking that, and we wanted to, we will include that, but we wanted to get some notable other picks in there as well.
And I think that like the point to that is, I mean, WrestleMania 40 is 40 years of WrestleMania, 2 massive nights. It had everything on it.
100% both nights.
It is top notch. And then you look at WrestleMania 41 next year in Las Vegas, they're going to charge $20,000 a ticket. It's going to want to be the best wrestling show you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of puts it always up the top. I'll give credit to AEW. They had some really fun cards this year. Dynasty was really good. Revolution with Sting's final match was fantastic. All in and All Out were both pretty good. But my pick for pay-per-view of the year is based mostly off a show that I loved every match, and every match was the right match.
Yeah.
Every decision was correct. It was booked exactly as it needed to be.
Okay.
And it set all the stories on the right trajectory, the way that they were going. Because sometimes you hear things with, like, this is SummerSlam. I'm talking about SummerSlam.
Right, okay.
Where, you know, you have your post your WrestleMania season, things slow down a little bit, but they pick back up for the SummerSlam show. It's their last one night SummerSlam because they're going to move to 2 nights going forward.
Yes, that they are.
But this show, every single match did exactly what it needed to do, and they were all very, very good. And this was, to me, a perfectly booked Triple H pay-per-view.
Okay.
The fact that it was 7 matches is, again, that very sweet spot, right? 5 matches to me, bit short. 10 matches, probably too many. AEW have done 15, 16 matches. Do you know what's an interesting statistic?
A lot.
There was 73 wrestlers on the All-In match card. 73. That is more people on All-In than both Royal Rumbles combined. So AEW sometimes
what are they doing, bro? What are they
overinflate
doing?
their pay-per-views. I think 7 to 8 is a sweet spot.
Yeah.
So SummerSlam started with Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley.
Yep.
Where she retained the title. And this
Which
is where Dom...
we were pretty surprised about, but kind of expected. Yeah.
This is where Dom had said in the SmackDown before, I hate you. And then he turns and he kisses Liv Morgan and Rhea gets her heart broken. Like, that was what that feud needed. It was...
Great way to open the show, too.
Great way to open it, but also for a heel in Dom Mysterio to turn more heel. How do you do it?
Only Dom can do it.
Mate, that was great. Bron beat Sammy for the Intercontinental title.
Thank God.
Right decision. Bron
should have been done earlier.
Probably should have been done at Money in the Bank, but that's fine. We'll take it. The right thing happened here. It was only a 5-minute match, but it's what we wanted.
Yeah, wow.
LA Knight defeated Logan Paul.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, probably should have been 6 months ago that LA Knight got strapped up as a champion, but it's fine. Really good match. There was that awesome spot where Logan jumped from the turnbuckle to the ropes to a backflip on the outside. So talented he is. That was a great match for that. Nia Jax probably put on one of her best singles matches against Bayley as the Queen of the Ring.
Yeah,
for her to win the title. That was way better than a lot of people gave it credit for.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also the right decision. You know, you're going to get someone to win the Queen of the Ring to be dominant like Nia has been.
Win the title.
Win the title.
Yeah.
Drew versus CM Punk with Seth Rollins as a special guest referee. I I mean, the only downside to that was the poor ref,
The
cam
ref
that
cam.
fell off and didn't work properly. But that match was great. You got the right person winning.
Yeah.
That set up stories and feuds for months from that match. Gunther as the King of the Ring, defeating Damian Priest, choking him out with Finn Balor on the outside. Again,
yes. And
right decision. Gunther getting the world title is exactly what we needed to happen.
yeah, but Damien and Finn, bleh.
Yeah, well, that'll keep going. And then the last
It's
match,
still going.
the last match was Cody defeating Solo in the Bloodline Rules match, where we got the interference from the new Bloodline and the return of the OTC. That whole card, everything on that card is great.
I forgot how good that card was. Otherwise, I would have chosen it.
Yeah, like everything from that has then set up the rest of the year storylines.
Yep.
And I think it was just booked really well, and you can't fault it.
No. Can't argue. Great pick. Great
Go
pick.
me, good pick.
Hooray.
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 Speaking of great picks and hooraying, the next category we're going to choose is Moment of the Year. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Look, doing that reminds me of two things. One, the
Home Alone.
The Home Alone phase. And the elf. Oh my God, it's Santa. It's very Christmassy for us.
Oh, it's the John Cena one, remember? That's why we did it.
Yeah.
You forgot about that.
I forgot about the wrestling memes. I went for the stupid Christmas movie memes instead.
It works.
So Moment of the Year. Do you have your pick?
I do. I'm going to go all the way back to the start of the year,
Okay.
and I'm going with The Rock's surprise appearance on day one,
Okay.
because that set up a lot of absolutely amazing stories this year.
I think the better moment to that was when they announced the former world champion.
Former
coming
world
on. It was
champion.
like, oh my God, and it was Jinder
Jinder
Mahal.
Mahal, and the
Don't
whole
hinder the
crowd
Jinder.
is disappointed. And then he gets interrupted by The Rock. The Rock takes him out, and he's like, I think I might go out after this. Might go to a club, get some food. Should I sit in a booth?
No.
Should I sit at the bar?
No.
Or should I sit at the head of the table?
Oh my God.
Ah, man, I was so happy. So happy. And then the Cody Crybabies ruined it.
Cody Crybabies
Ruined it.
Well, that goes into my moment of the year.
If we don't get Roman and Rock at Mania this year,
We're never getting it.
we're never getting it, and you ruined it. I'd been waiting years for that. You ruined it.
Okay. Well, to try and make you feel better, my moment of the year is going to be lead very clearly from your moment of the year
course
into
it
Cody
is.
finishing the story.
Oh, look.
That to me is the moment of the year. It's the
Yes.
moment in
Look,
pro wrestling
yes.
throughout the year. We've been invested in this Cody story for 2 years.
Some more than others. I only got on board like within the last month of that story.
When we
being
showed you that
completed.
Cody documentary.
The Cody documentary, I watched it and I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm on board. I get it.
But yeah, finishing the story, obviously all of the turmoil coming up to that, the fact that he lost the WrestleMania beforehand, everyone wanted it to happen, and then there was The Rock flexing his big Rock muscles and his big on the board
of directors.
to try and take that away. But then you get the match, right? And WrestleMania match, we said how good WrestleMania was. You've got, the first night, 50 odd minutes of them wrestling, great. The second night, you get 25 minutes of the match, and then you just get the nostalgia. It just pumps you. Then you get Shield
Jimmy,
Seth, you get
Jay,
yep,
Solo, Rock, Cena,
Shield
Taker,
Undertaker.
Shield Seth. Like, oh my God. It was
everything. I think the only thing that would have made that the pinnacle was instead of the Undertaker, as much as we both love the Undertaker and his aura at a WrestleMania makes total sense. I get it.
Austin.
If that was the glass shattering and Austin coming down, that's the only thing that could have.
And I think like we both agreed, I think we all agreed that would have been absolutely amazing. But then the logical step after that was if Austin took out Rock, like what happened then? Did he just like walk out up the ramp? I think with it being the Undertaker and being able to shut off the lights, he appears, shut off the lights, he's gone. That was a really nice touch.
Yeah.
And like the match was that good. That night of WrestleMania night 2, I went back to my place and I made my partner watch that because that match was just amazing.
But that has to be the moment of the year, man. Like him getting all his family, everybody in the ring, Randy and KO and everybody putting him on the shoulders.
Yeah.
Brandy running down with him, like just the whole lot. That finishing the story, it has to be a peak moment. It's probably got to be a top 5 wrestling moment ever really.
Ever.
Like it will go down in
And that's
history.
not even a bit of a stretch to say that. Like just from Cody's return at WrestleMania 38 falling short at 39 and then clawing his way back and then getting that at 40. Like
And then
that
becoming the
2-year
people-
story is just...
And then he becomes the People's Champion at WrestleMania 41.
Oh. Moving on. Let's not touch on that. Rocky's the People's Champion.
Let's then move on to the next one, which is Most Improved Wrestler.
Most Improved Wrestler.
And I don't have anyone, so
Okay.
you please go
I'll
first.
I'll go.
And I'll have a think.
I kind of ummed and ahed about this a little bit. I picked someone and did a bit of research, and I was like, yeah, I could pick them. But then I did a bit more research, and I ended up going with Bronson Reed, strictly
good pick.
because
Yep. Okay.
July 2021, Bronson Reed got released.
I totally forgot about that.
He was in NXT at the time. I don't think he'd gotten called up to the main roster, or maybe it was like shortly after he got called up to the main roster.
Yeah, okay.
But I believe it was early 2023 or late 2022 when he came back.
Because he's a Triple H guy. So
Yeah, Triple H guy. As soon as Triple H was in charge, he's like, get back over here. Didn't do a lot last year, but then this year he's really come into his own as his monster character.
Yeah.
And we had that with the Braun Strowman feud.
Oh, that last Monster Standing match. So
Phenomenal.
good. And like,
Phenomenal.
I think I saw Reed put out a tweet or something that like he's going to come back bigger and better and stronger. And like,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
he broke rings, he broke cars, he broke people.
He broke bones.
He's
Like,
coming. Oh, mate.
he's coming back.
That is a very good pick. For
Having the
Most
feud with Braun, with Sheamus, Seth Rollins, which we were meant to get at Chamber earlier this year, but that got delayed because Seth was injured.
Oh, that would have been such a good match for that card too. If we had got Seth and Bronson.
Yeah.
Because that card had potential with the chamber matches on it, but it just fell short without having that superstar. Because we didn't get Punk, we didn't get Cody, we didn't get Seth in the ring.
Yeah.
Um,
They were in the ring for a talk show, but it doesn't count.
yeah. I mean, I love Grayson Waller, but yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's not quite as good.
And then to have Bronson to win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal earlier this year, and then his involvement with this bloodline for the last couple of months.
He fit perfectly.
Absolutely. Fit perfectly.
Yeah.
Can't fault it at all.
Okay. Hasn't helped me. Hasn't helped me at all pick who I'm going to choose. All right, let me have a think. One person I probably want to give a bit of a shout out to for Most Improved, and it's probably not quite the right thing for the category, but I'm going to choose, like, say Bailey as an honorable mention here, mainly because her carrying the Damage Control stuff all the way through to WrestleMania, her winning the Royal Rumble, her feud with Io, and then stuff with Nia. Like, she got really good matches out of a lot of different people.
Yeah.
Stuff with Tiffany that she did all year. And the fact that she kind of went from, Bailey as, heel Bailey to face Bailey, but a lot more of this talk backstage of how much of an influence Bailey is now in the women's locker room, how important she is for everybody else. I think that's like an improvement in her that, there was a point a few years ago where we were like, she was tied to the 4 Horsewomen. And, when you talked about Bailey, you talked about Sasha because it was Bailey and Sasha. Whereas now I think she's very clearly Bailey.
Yeah.
So I think it's not quite what you would normally categorize as most improved, but I think she has improved and her trajectory has gone up.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I got him.
You do? Who is it?
Controversial pick, I think. I don't know if a lot of people will like this decision.
Controversial.
But I am going to choose for my most improved. And you almost could have said it from the last year as well, but Logan Paul.
Yeah, a lot of people will not like that.
Controversial, but I mean, like the match that he had years prior with Roman Reigns were great.
And that was it within his first year of wrestling in WWE.
Yes.
And he's now had 2 full calendar years on top of that.
Yeah, but you look at what he did this year, right? Like that Ricochet spot at the Royal Rumble was viral and went everywhere.
Yeah.
They tried to redo it, but they couldn't because Ricochet sucks. His WrestleMania match with Randy Orton and KO was fantastic. His
amazing.
feud with LA Knight for the US title, again, like we said before, like on that SummerSlam card where he put him over with some fantastic moves. Like, I think that what Logan did for that US title, although a lot of people kind of thought, you defended it 3 times in a year or whatever it was. There was
Roman
more
did the same
talk,
thing.
but there was more talk about that title
Because of him.
because of what he did, and because of him carrying it around to podcasts and
UFC
premieres
and
and
just,
UFC,
like,
exactly.
all sorts of things.
All that kind of stuff improved the aura around the US title, and then when LA Knight got it, it felt bigger than it ever did.
Yeah.
Ever did
Agreed.
recently, because of what Logan did to it, right? And I think my other point to it as well is Logan Paul. If you look at his matches, you look at the match with Roman, you're like, geez, how did this YouTuber dude pull off a really good match with Roman Reigns? Well done. But then you look at him this year,
it's
every
like that
match
every match. Every match.
his match with Cody.
He's
great.
really putting in the work. And he had a really good performance at Chamber earlier this year as well.
Yeah, because he was in the chamber.
Yeah.
A bit windy outside. I think that, the reason that I'm picking Logan Paul is that I'd say 12 to 18 months ago, you'd say this is a celebrity jumping in and doing a wrestling match. Now, when he came out of that Raw on Netflix thing, he is a pro wrestler.
I did not see that coming. Like, I knew that the whole I'm retiring from wrestling was a bit, but to have it happen like a week and a half, 2 weeks before that Netflix
He
special,
surprised everyone, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's a pro wrestler now. And I think that
He's on board.
he's improved.
Give him his cred, regardless of whether you like him or not.
Cool.
He's a great entertainer.
Rolling through the categories, the next category, best tag team. Let's just say it's Fraxium and move on.
Yes,
Because it
correct.
has to be
That was my
Fraxium.
pick, yeah.
Right? It can't be anyone
Every
else.
single match that they have, fast-paced, entertaining, and just you can't fault them at all. Every single team that they've come up against, whether it be the Good Brothers, the LWO, Chase U, No Catch Quarter Crew, like
Dude,
wealth of tag teams, and they've come out on top in 99% of the encounters, and they look $1 million as well.
that match that they had at Deadline against No Quarter Catch Crew, I couldn't tell you the names of the two dudes. And I still probably couldn't tell you who the guys from the No Quarter Catch Crew were. One of them has a big fluffy hair. But the match was fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, it was so good, but it was completely carried by Fraxium.
Yeah.
And I think the reason that they also have to win this is I can't really name you another tag team that had a great year.
No.
The New Day didn't do a lot apart from the heel turn at the end of the year, but like otherwise, Judgment Day weren't great. Motor City Machine Guns were fine. DIY was fine. Even on the AEW side, you had the Learning Tree, FTR, the Young Bucks, the House of Black.
They definitely haven't had their best years.
Correct.
This year.
Whereas I think Fraxium have had their best year ever.
Yeah,
and those two
absolutely.
are just rocket to the moon of how good they are. If you want to look at the women's side, I mean, Damage Control probably didn't have that much. Unholy Union getting the titles was nice. And a lot of people think Jade and Bianca are probably the best women's tag team for the year. But I still don't think anything they did in ring matches close to what Fraxium did.
No, can't touch Fraxium at all.
So I think, it's pretty clear that they get it. Next year, it might be different. Hopefully, they put a bit more effort on the tag team division. I mean, Raw, finally, Judgment Day dropping the titles. As much as, I really appreciate the in-ring work, like, when they dropped those titles to the War Raiders, Finn and JD looked superb. Yeah. Some of their tag team wrestling was great, and, I think they kind of got the Raw end of the stick.
Yeah, they just haven't had that much opportunity. They've been focusing so much on this Damian Priest and Finn Balor stuff, and Finn going for the world title and failing, and, they just got shafted, essentially. And a lot of people have been coming out criticizing Triple H's booking of the tag team divisions at the moment. I mean, SmackDown's really starting to pick up with DIY's heel turn and Motor City Machine Guns coming in, and that's looking really good on that side. But, this Raw side's just looking abysmal at the moment.
Oh, I'm sure Netflix will put a rocket under it.
Yeah,
You'll
absolutely.
get the Lucha Bros. You'll get...
The year's pretty much done and dusted. Let's look forward to next year.
Yeah. WrestleMania 41 Raw tag team titles. The War Raiders versus the New Day versus...
Big E and Keith Lee.
The Lucha Bros versus the Paul Brothers.
Oh.
Heard it here first.
Ooh, that's spicy. Spicy.
I mean, if you want to
fucking hate that.
If you want to cover Jake Paul in a wrestling match,
Jake Paul, dude. I hate Jake Paul.
Chuck him in a WrestleMania match with a multi-man match. They love those at WrestleMania.
They do it too. They do it.
Absolutely. That's a genius idea. Book it, Triple H. You're welcome.
Oh no.
All right, next one we've got here is best talent.
Best talent.
Yeah. So to quantify that means best non-wrestling in-ring talent. So you can have an announcer, commentator, a manager, whatever else.
Yeah. Okay. I've got an honorable mention for this because I want to give some credit to Jessica Carr, who we touched on a little earlier.
Great choice.
Specifically for that Backlash France match.
Yep.
She was the first ever female referee to referee a main championship main event.
Yep.
In WWE. Specify that in WWE. She was the first one.
Are you specifying that because of the other female referee, Audrey Edwards, and how terrible she is and how much we hate her on this podcast?
Correct.
Great.
Correct. And my pick is someone who you might not expect.
Okay.
I've gone with the NXT general manager, Ava.
I did not even think about general managers at all.
Exactly.
Okay.
There we go.
And so I can book Tony Khan then. All right.
if you want to. So my logic behind this was when you say best talent being non-wrestler, everyone will immediately go Paul Heyman. And for this list, I wanted to kind of go away from the obvious picks.
Okay, yep.
Just so we could have some different sort of content. And Ava, I feel like the way that she's evolved her character from being in that faction with Joe Gacy to then them splitting up, Ava staying in NXT, getting this general manager's position, and the way that she's involved her character and how she appears on NXT week in, week out, and is involved with major feuds as well.
Yep.
I feel like for someone who was doing a bit of pro wrestling and then seemed to be a bit of a manager for that faction and to now be the general manager, the youngest ever general manager, we've got to give her credit. And she absolutely deserves it.
And it's not all just because she's the Rock's daughter, right?
No. Haven't seen him once on NXT.
Yeah, we won't go there. That's CM Punk and Randy Orton territory. You won't go down there. All right. I feel like you've shunted me a little bit with my pick.
Just pick him, mate. Just pick him.
No,
I also went with my picks in the hopes that you'd either pick them or pick someone where I'd be like, okay.
All right, well, I can do that, but I'll give you a couple of honorable mentions quickly. The first one I want to give as a non-wrestling talent is someone who brought so many eyes to the product. Somebody that got casual fans and other people to turn in to watch wrestling that they normally wouldn't do. It's the Rizzler. No, you did. No,
I'm not commenting on that.
Okay, it's not the Rizzler. I will quickly give flowers to Michael Cole though. I think he's been
doing the best work of his career.
I still remember. Do you remember early on in the year around the Royal Rumble when he had that thing with Valhalla and he got the antlers? How fun was that?
That was so good. So good.
The promo with Kevin Owens in the car, everything that he's been doing commentary, he's doing all the pre-show stuff for the PLEs.
23 years he's been doing it, isn't it? Or 20?
Probably longer than that.
Yeah.
28. He's been doing it since
he
the
said
90s.
it on the Netflix launch.
I think it's like 28 years.
Yeah.
Controversial, but maybe, I don't know. He's surpassing JR as the best WWE commentator ever.
I agree with you on that. And I think solely because JR's really tarnished his legacy with what he's been doing in AEW recently. And we've touched on it before. He needs to call it quits. He needs to stop doing on television stuff.
Yeah,
just do backstage
one
stuff.
match and different things. Yeah. But the pick that I'm actually going to choose is Paul Heyman. Like you said, it's the obvious one.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say Paul Heyman not just for his on air stuff that he did with the Bloodline, because although that was brilliant, the fact that he helps write all the stories, the fact that he carries Roman, the Roman and CM Punk thing that they had a couple of weeks ago with Heyman in the middle doing all that stuff, the favor. It's so Godfather-like the way that they're doing this, the way that he brought back CM Punk before War Games. Like, he's such a phenomenally good character, and he just adds so much to that Bloodline story. He took a table bump as well. Like, for a dude his size and
Heyman
age,
to take bumps, you got to realize that it means something.
Got to give him credit for that. But also for what he's been doing for the wrestlers behind the scenes, the fact that he's said, like, a lot of the wrestlers have said, like, Bron Breakker, Bailey, a lot of those others that have said that they've had questions and they want to ask something to someone, and you can always reach out to Paul, and he'll always give you some tips and help you out. So I think that really cements how good he is. And the third part of why I think he is the best non-in-ring talent, his Hall of Fame speech. I don't know if you all remember, like how good that speech was. He went on and on. The crowd was chanting ECW. He put on his Paulie Dangerously stuff. He got his headset on there, swearing,
jacket, the hat, everything, the whole 9 yards.
It was so good. And in general, a Hall of Fame ceremony that no one really cares too much about them these days. They have lost a lot of the luster that they used to get when they were Hall of Fame. This speech and this thing that he put in with his kids and talking to, like, CM Punk was there and his kids were in the audience, and like I have
to go back and watch it.
It just makes it so much better to see how great of a person he is and how much he really loves the wrestling business. Yeah, he does.
And like you mentioned, him helping out like Bron Breakker, Bailey, and all that sort of stuff. He was meant to have leave this year, and when he got
written off TV.
Got written off TV, and instead of taking his leave and taking some well-earned time off, he's still back there helping everyone, helping write promos, helping people work on their characters and stuff. And he's truly an essential part of the business, and he's probably one of the pillars of the entire pro wrestling industry.
Yep. Oh, look, I'm 100% deserves his flowers to go into the Hall of Fame. Fantastic. All right, next category we've got a couple left.
Yeah.
Us being a local Australian podcast, down under the map.
Yes, local talent.
Australia, the flag, everything's up there.
In case you couldn't tell.
Maybe the accents, maybe that gave it away for you as well. Who knows? Let's do local Australian talent. And I mean, this year, I think Reece, you and I have had a fair few opportunities to travel and watch some wrestling. We obviously went to Elimination Chamber, which went to Perth, so we've seen some OPW. We've gone to PWA several times in Sydney to watch their shows, watch their Rumble, the King of the Metro, watched Coliseum, obviously Slam, our local show. We've gone and seen all their stuff. We're going next year. What's the Queensland one we're going to go see?
Rock and Roll Wrestling, I believe it is.
Brisbane.
We also got to see World Series Wrestling in March this year.
We did with a lot of indie people on that. And then obviously watching YouTube shows for like MCW and different things as well. So
MLW.
Not MLW, that's the American one.
But we watched it on YouTube though.
Sticks the thing in his forehead, cinder block and whatever. Who's your pick for local wrestler?
So I'll do an honourable mention for this one.
Okay, good. So
we almost have to because he's in the background. He's behind you. Mr. Dan Archer himself. Not only just this year, but previous years as well. The way that he's worked on his character and himself as well. He's gone from, I think we discussed it previously. He went from, when he started in Slam, he had go away heat because he was just annoying and we didn't like him.
With the mohawk and telling everyone to shut up.
Yeah. Oh, I need absolute silence, which we now absolutely love that chant. For him to evolve from that to having go away heat to completely rebuilding himself, becoming a brick shithouse, and now being our Slam world champion.
Mate, I want to know how he's bulked up so much. Like maybe we should go on that diet and sort of get.
I don't think you want to because from his posts on social media, which he's been doing a lot of in the lead up to Rage in the Cage 2, very retrospective on Instagram and stuff. He cut out alcohol.
Oh, hard pass. Sorry, Dan.
Sorry, I don't think we can do that. Could, but
I mean,
don't want to.
But nah.
Yeah. So I'm going to give my honourable mention to Dan, and then my actual pick will be King Vance of King's Court.
We are not worthy.
We are not worthy indeed. So I think from his very first Slam appearance, which was just a promo in the ring, I think it was early 2023 or late 2022.
And I think we've said this before, Slam needs to do this more often too.
Yeah.
Like,
we don't get a lot of in-ring promos, but him being one of the first ones, just coming out and doing a promo. I don't think he had a match at the time, or maybe he did. But like,
I don't know.
When he started speaking on the mic, I was like, this guy's got something. Just waiting with bated breath for him to achieve something in Slam. We got that this year in, I think it was July. Slam Tag Team Championships came to the King's Court with real Matthew Hayter III. Absolutely loved them. And then they were unceremoniously stripped by Sweet Pete and the board of directors. And then mere months later at Rage in the Cage 2, Terry Campese Invitational Battle Royal. Winner gets a championship opportunity. Our boy King Vance won, and he's now decided to right the wrong and challenge for those Slam Tag Team Champions at the Slam Rumble, February 8th. So I'm very excited for that one, but I'm very torn because they are facing the Dropouts. So I like both teams. I don't know what to do.
Okay. Well, I think that might lead into my picks. My honourable mention is going to be the Dropouts. Okay. It'd be Tuckman and Scotty Green.
Well deserved. Love you boys.
Seeing a bunch of their stuff this year, I remember watching them at the King of the Metro Rumble coming out to Chelsea Dagger.
It's so catchy.
So catchy. Gets the whole crowd in. And I remember when they were in the Rumble, Scotty Green came out
from under the ring and smoke everywhere.
Yeah. That was quite fun. But like those two have been workhorses. They've got titles now at Slam. They're our Slam Tag Champions. They've wrestled everywhere in PWA. They've got I think the Newcastle
Tag Champs,
IWC or the South Coast Championships as well. They've been to Melbourne.
They are running the tag team divisions.
They're fantastic. Quick shout outs to some other people that we've seen across the country. Jesse Lambert over in Perth.
So entertaining. He was over for Rage in the Cage 2 as well.
Came over for Rage in the Cage 2. He's a great pick. Obviously, Slex and Mikey, they're backbones of the Australian wrestling industry. They're just going everywhere. Ben Braxton, I reckon, is going to be the future.
He's got to be going places.
He's so talented. In some of the stuff that he's done, and the fact that he got 5 minutes in the Slam Rumble was disappointing. I reckon. More from him, please.
Bit disappointing, but.
And then the pick that I'm going to choose for this is not Delta / Zaria, because she's now no longer a local
bigger
wrestler.
and better things.
She's now over in NXT.
Bigger things. Not always better, but bigger things.
I mean,
she's not champion yet, so.
Wrestling Julia and Stephanie Vicker instead of wrestling, Kingsley. Maybe.
Pinning the NXT Women's Champion.
Yeah, that's fantastic. The one I'm picking is Lena Cross.
Yeah.
The tallest bitch on the indies.
She right there. Love our girl, Lena.
She has done some phenomenal. We've seen her in Perth. We've seen her at World Series of Wrestling. We've seen her at PWA. I don't think we've seen her at Slam this year.
No, I don't think she's been.
She was there last year.
Yeah.
She had a massive match against Robbie Eagles the other week for the Soul of PWA title. She did a tour of Japan with some wrestling over there in New Japan. She did tours of America. She was over in the UK with your mate Chevs at one point as well. She is so talented, and her in-ring style is so strong with the women wrestlers, but also the men.
Yeah.
The matches that she put on against the match she put on against Tommy Knight at the PWA Coliseum was
outstanding,
so good. It was brilliant. So yeah, I'm picking Lena Cross. If you haven't seen any of these names we're throwing out because you're international and you don't know the people we're talking about, just chuck them into YouTube. Have a look. Find some footage.
You will not be disappointed.
Lena Cross she's going places.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if she's here for much longer, to be honest. With how much she's been overseas this year, someone's bound to pick her up sometime soon.
I think so. I think she'll get a chance.
Huge things coming.
All right, well, now we're down to our last two categories. We're down to the last two.
I love you, Solo.
Not Solo. Best female and best male. And now let's quantify this before we go on, that this is who we believe has had the best 2024.
Yep.
Not necessarily the champion, the best wrestler, the greatest wrestler of all time, the whatever. This is who we think have had the best year in 2024.
Yep.
You're going to go first? How are we going to...
I'll go first.
Okay, so we're doing women, ladies first?
Yes, women first.
All right, rock and roll.
Top of the table. My choice this year. Might touch on honourable mentions after, just in case Dan picks my honourable mention. No, unfortunately not.
You mean it's not Tiffy time?
It's not Tiffy time.
Wow,
currently.
I thought that was a lock for you, bro.
It was. And then I did a bit more research and I looked at Tiffy's record and I thought she's definitely done a lot of good this year. Chamber, Rumble, Money in the Bank. I feel like that she's been on the short end of the stick a few too many times, even with all those accolades against her name. So my pick, Roxanne Perez, NXT Women's Champion.
Didn't see that
Here's
one.
why.
Okay.
She's been champion for 8+ months.
Okay.
Getting up there in terms of longest reigns for NXT women. Not quite there yet because Shayna and Asuka are at the top of that. She has beaten the likes of Natalya, Jordan Grace, Chelsea Green, your brand new Women's United States champion.
Chelsea Green.
And Julia. She had a Royal Rumble appearance.
Yeah.
She won her current championship at Stand and Deliver this year.
From
Lyra Valkyria. So by proxy...
Oh, she was the champion. Yeah,
by proxy, Roxanne has beaten Becky Lynch.
Because Lyra beat Becky.
Yep.
That's not how it works.
Absolutely, that's
The
how it
math
works.
is not math. That's not how it works.
And she also had the Raw After Mania appearance and won, which was, I believe, against Natalia. So
Yeah, when she...
that's a pretty stellar year.
Okay.
And for someone who's currently 23 on their second NXT Women's Championship reign,
So young.
who's been labelled as the prodigy, the way that she has evolved from that babyface prodigy character, I'm the best, I'm so young, to this heel, I'm the best and no one is better than me.
Yeah.
Her heel persona at the moment has really elevated her on my list.
Okay. I mean, when everyone talks about NXT being the strongest women's division in wrestling, the names are, it's Stephanie Vicker, it's Julia, it's Zaria, and then it's Roxanne. Like,
Yeah.
I get your point, and I think that she's probably underrated because of that. But I think she's the glue that holds that whole division together.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good pick. I'm okay with that. My choice, I'm going to give honorable mention to somebody that I think probably had this in the bag in about July and then took some time off. And that's probably the time away from our screens. It is so strong. Well picked.
Oh, good pick.
Is because of that. So Timeless Toni Storm, I think, she was that character, and what she was doing was so good. The way that she was doing everything with Mariah May.
And the fact that I hated that character when it first popped up.
Oh, and then
it grew on me.
Yep.
Like it was some of Tony's best work that she's ever done.
Yep. And the way that AEW lent into it with the black and white screen and the color screen and stuff, the way they presented her character. And to be fair, the wrestling trope of the second that she got Mariah May as her, chaperone partner, whatever, and she was copying her, we all knew how that ends. Everybody knows that ends on one of them turning heel on the other and then having a match.
Yeah.
But it was still great the whole way we got there. And then that all-in match with the two of them was phenomenal. The heel to the head, the blood, if she hadn't have taken that hiatus away and continued on, and I'm not sold currently on the I've got memory loss, I don't know who I am, Toni Storm character.
I'm going to give it time.
I think that honourable mention goes to her for that.
Yeah.
I mean, honourable mention, a lot of people would say would be, your Biancas, your Rheas, your Livs, etc. There's
a lot of people to put on this list.
A lot of them up and down. I think this has probably been Liv Morgan's best year, and it's hard to argue that for her. But I'm not going to pick Liv.
Okay.
I'm
Interesting.
Going to pick Io Sky.
Okay. All right.
I think Io is the best women's in-ring wrestler in the world.
In the world?
I think it's very hard to put anyone past her at the moment. She can put on a great match with anybody. If you haven't seen some of the stuff that she did before WWE, go and watch her match with Pentagon Jr. in Lucha Underground. Mate. Whoa.
People bring that up all the time.
Because it's insane.
And the Chelsea Green one as well.
Oh, it's insane.
Crazy.
But Io this year, obviously all the damage control stuff, the WrestleMania feud with Bayley, after Bayley winning the Rumble, the fact that was probably one of the best matches on that entire WrestleMania card. In ring wise, I think is right up there. Obviously, the stuff that she's done. I mean, anytime they want a good match in the women's division, they don't go to Pure Fusion Collective. They go to Io Sky, and she does
faction of the year.
She's just synonymous with big spots. The flipping powerbomb move she did on a ladder for somebody in the Money in the Bank. The trash can off the top of the cage in War Games that she does.
Trash can.
She just doesn't miss.
Yeah.
And for someone that has English as a second language that struggles to cut a strong promo the way that somebody else can, she gets the crowd so invested in her so quickly by her ring work, by her facial expressions, by the way that she acts. It puts so much effort into her character of how good she is.
Yeah.
And let's be fair, Damage Control at the start of the year were heels all the way through Bayley. And then now she's a face and they haven't done anything to do it. It's just everywhere like, no, we actually really love Io Sky. Yeah. Let's just give her props.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
She's my pick for best women's wrestler. I think she's had a great year and I'd love to see her. I mean, she did have the world title this year, but I'd love to see her get another shot at the title next year. And if it's one of the mid-card titles,
that's fine.
Great. Elevate the title, elevate the crap out of that title and workhorse champion.
Absolutely. Can't say it any better than that. Now,
all right. Last topic.
The
best
men's
male wrestler. Now, I want to go first for this one.
Okay. Hands off.
Because I know you were saying before we recorded that you've got a couple of options.
Yes, I do.
And I'm thinking that if I take one of them,
I will choose the other.
It'll make your life easier.
Yes.
I think we can talk controversial choices afterwards because I think consensus, a lot of people say Cody because he's the face of WWE.
We'll discuss after.
We won't go into that. Ryan Danielson was the face of AEW for a very long period of time. He's not my choice.
Yeah.
The person that I'm going to pick as having the best 2024. Drew McIntyre.
Drew. One of my picks, so I'm now going to go with the other.
Okay, good. I'm glad that's helped. From injuring Punk in the Royal Rumble to getting that world title shot with Seth at WrestleMania to getting cashed in on to then the feud with Punk that is all time.
A feud of the year.
To everything with Jey Uso, to all the matches that he was having with that, the stuff with Sammy, this character that he is now. I don't think you can doubt that this has been Drew McIntyre's best career year. The fact that last year there was all that talk of, his contract's going to expire. Is he going to go to AEW in
Drew
London?
Galloway, All Elite.
And then, he takes that time off and then he comes back. And we knew that if Drew's coming back to WWE, he's getting a bit more say on what he wants to do. He was very outward on his booking and what it was. And I think he's now got much more say in that. And his character since has been phenomenal. The fact that he held a feud with CM Punk from the Royal Rumble all the way through to Survivor Series, or not Survivor Series, SummerSlam, and then beyond, with Punk being injured for like months of that, and none of us stopped caring.
No.
All we wanted to see was that feud. The fact that it was on Raw episodes, it was on pay-per-views, it was on Twitter the whole
on
time.
SmackDown.
It was everywhere it wanted to be. Like, see, like his stuff with Punk with the T-shirt and all of the things that he was tweeting about everybody. Like, just go read Drew McIntyre's Twitter feed. It is chef's kiss how good it is.
Crisp.
And then every match. That match with Seth at WrestleMania. Claymore after Claymore, after Stomp, after Pedigree. It is 10 minutes of, and then he gets the title and he goes to his partner and he shows the title and everyone's finally proud that, you know, Drew McIntyre that deserves this title so much because he was the pandemic champion, never in front of a crowd.
And then
does it to CM Punk. He gets cashed in on. Oh, and then he gets his main event at Clash at the Castle. And you're like, he's going to get a chance. And then CM Punk screws him. And he keeps going. And then you get to that Hell in a Cell match.
Oh,
that was one of the best Hell in a Cell matches ever.
So good.
Drew McIntyre, man.
Yeah.
Like I can't doubt that he had his best year in wrestling, and I think he has been now elevated. He is main event Drew McIntyre. He's no more Drew Galloway. He's no longer the chosen one. He's no longer anything to do with the three-man band.
Yep.
He is the Scottish psychopath, Drew McIntyre, and he is in that world title picture for good.
Yeah. Interesting that you bring him up because throughout the week I've seen that he is apparently going to be a major focus for WWE next year. Mm-hmm. So well-deserved for Drew McIntyre. Well-earned as well. Like after being three-man band, getting fired, coming back, through NXT as well. Like he was on the main roster before he left, but putting him back through NXT and then what he's become now is just absolutely amazing.
I mean, a lot of people's match of the year last year was that triple threat with him, Gunther, and Sheamus at WrestleMania. Like he has the in-ring work, he has the promo work, he has the character. It's true.
He's the man now.
Who's your pick?
The man.
If it's not true, who's your pick? Is
Will Ospreay.
Ospreay.
Yeah,
bruv.
Yeah, and touching on that before we start praising him too much. His promos have been getting on my nerves a little bit because he says a lot of shit, a lot of fluff, and bruv a lot. And sometimes it really detracts from what Ospreay really is. Like, he's a fantastic professional wrestler. He can cut a good promo. As a superstar as a whole, he's fantastic. But I feel like some of his promos can be a little bit meh sometimes, like that one where he took a shot at Triple H about not being about the grind, bruv. And
oh, yeah, that wasn't a good one.
very cringy, but you cannot deny that the best wrestler this year has been Will Ospreay.
Yep.
Banger after banger
after banger
after banger. Just like constant 5-star matches. First match as an official AEW member of the roster, 5 stars.
5 stars.
Following week, Fletcher, 5 stars. You mentioned the 6.5 star, 6.25 star with Daniel Bryan. The feud with MJF.
That match on Dynamite.
59-minute, 59-second match.
Yep.
Amazing. I was sitting watching that live and it got to the 20 minutes. I was like, oh, this is a really long match. Then it got to 30. Then once it hit the 40, I was like, they're going the whole way.
Yeah.
They're going the whole way.
But at no point did you not want them to go the whole way.
Exactly.
It was so good.
It was just like, it was gripping you the entire 60 minutes. There wasn't really many down points. There was obviously a little bit of lulls while the big moves just happened, they're recovering, but then they just went bang, straight into it after that. Mm-hmm. He's just top tier, week in, week out.
The match
except for the last week with Ospreay, apparently. I mean, with Ricochet.
Oh, yeah, the one on Collision. Yeah, I didn't like that. But the one before that against Darby, like I said, he gave Darby a 5-star match.
Yeah, Darby.
Even Uncle Dave
Darby.
And you hate Darby.
I don't like Darby. I need to go watch that match, though. I've seen a lot of really great clips.
It's a fun match.
It was like, I was going to watch it, and then I found out that Darby won, and I was just like, I ain't about that.
No.
But I'm going to have to go watch it. I will go watch it.
You know that Ricochet wins his match too, right?
Yeah, I know.
He eats 2 losses in a row.
It's part of the story. It's fine.
I'm sure it will be. Yeah, look, I can't argue with Ospreay, man. Like, the Continental Classic, the feud that he's had with Fletcher, the feud he had with Danielson just to prove who was the best in the world. Like they just wanted to be
It's
who's
that
better.
simple.
And to think that, if he gets through this Continental Classic, he's probably got another match with Fletcher in him. Then he's probably got a match against Okada.
Yeah.
And then at some point in the near future, he's probably got a match coming up with Kenny Omega again.
Kenny's coming back.
I mean, it's onwards and upwards. Like Will could do a 5-star match with a broom.
Yep.
He is so fantastic.
Or a dummy, as someone has done in the past.
Yeah, that was Ibushi.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to see Will do that match. That'd be great.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, look, hard to argue with that, man. I think story-wise, character-wise, I think Drew McIntyre is the best character in wrestling.
Yeah.
And I think it's really hard to say anybody but Will Ospreay is the best bell-to-bell in-ring wrestler.
Yeah. Can't. You just can't. Flat out.
You just can't.
You just can't.
All right. That's our awards.
Yep. That is
So
our awards.
to roll it down for everybody, match of the year, we had Reece choosing Ospreay versus Pac from All Out, and me going with Swerve and Danielson at All In. PLE of the year, I've chosen SummerSlam, and Reece has chosen Backlash in France. Moment of the year was The Rock returning on day one, which then led to Cody finishing the story. Most improved wrestler, we've got Bronson Reed, Big Bronson Reed, and Logan Paul. Best tag team, we both agreed with Fraxium. Couldn't argue
Hands
on that
down.
point. Best talent, we've gone for Ava as NXT GM and Paul Heyman as the GOAT. The best local wrestler, Lena Cross from me and King Vance from Reece. And then best female, Io Sky for me and Roxanne Perez for Reece and Drew McIntyre and William J. Ospreay. I don't know if Jay's his middle name. That's the first thing. William Ospreay.
William Bruv Ospreay.
William B. Ospreay. I think it's a fairly solid list. And look,
Yeah.
2024 has been a very good year for wrestling fans.
It's been one of the best in recent memory.
And we shit on the mud show that is AEW a lot, right? And we can because some of the storylines are terrible. But in ring wise, a lot of the best matches that we had were all AEW stuff. They are bell to bell, fantastic matches if you want to go watch it. Some of the storyline stuff, plastic bags, Darby falling through glass.
Boom!
The Rizzler aside, I think AEW is hopefully going upwards.
Yeah.
WWE, this Netflix thing, who knows? It's going to go everywhere.
Ooh,
And WrestleMania
can't wait for
41 is going to be one of the biggest ones ever.
Yeah. It's a great time to be a professional wrestler.
Come along the ride with us.
Yes.
Like, subscribe, join us on our Discord, give us a chat.
Subscribe.
We talked on
We
our
love you
Discord
guys.
before we recorded this about our best matches, and some of the other people on the Discord put theirs in there. So come
on
join. Links down below.
Everything's down below.
Come have a
Scrolling
chat.
across your screen. Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Discord,
TikTok.
TikTok.
All of
which I don't know how TikTok's going to go with that US ban coming in. Be interesting.
We'll see.
So if you're watching this and you're not subscribed, but you follow us on TikTok, fix that. Subscribe.
Yeah, come and subscribe. We love it on YouTube. More
Right.
subscribers, more friends, more family, more
Yes.
everyone chatting wrestling. That's
Friends
what we
and
want.
family. I love you, Solo. All right.
Every time.
We're
Every
going to
time.
wrap it up there. Thank you for tuning in. Let us know your thoughts down below. Like, subscribe, comment, engage. This has been Mr. Dan Danielson. I've been Rowdy Roddy Reese, and we will see you next time down under the mat.
Have a lovely
Too
Christmas.
sweet. Yeah, that too.